Hey everyone, this is Clint. Welcome to Sweetcast, and this is not a review of a comic book. This is just my thoughts on this particular issue of this comic book. But I would be in trouble if I didn't point out this beautiful outlay around my screen, overlay, whatever you call it. Uh, this is a good symbolism for my entire channel. It's almost professional. Donald DeLay created this for me. He did a great job, but I'm sort of a buffoon in getting the whole thing set up correctly. So it is what it is. But this will work for a normal video because my head will be over here, and then the screen will be over here. So that'll work. Anyway, I want to talk about Beast Wars for a few reasons. I got this Beast Wars #1, and I was interested in it because first off, you've been following the channel. I've said this is one of those existing IP, out there that I would want to write. This was well before I even knew or it was announced that this comic book was going to happen. I have no idea how long in the works they had it. So that first strike against the book is that I have ideas for it. I would write this. I already have a way I would do it. It's not going to happen, so I have to set that aside and read it for enjoyment reasons. Second thing I take into consideration is I was actually a fan of this in the 90s. And seeing someone write it that wasn't a fan at the time, he says he is now, which is, fine. But again, I have expectations there, and surely I will be disappointed for either of those reasons. And so I have to set those aside and just look at it and try to enjoy the thing. Having said that, the art is extremely minimalistic. And I don't know if this is about like, we just got to get deadlines kind of thing. Very, very minimal. More so toward the beginning and the space shots and stuff like that. It gets a little bit more detailed as you get into the world. And I'm not the type of person that needs tons and tons of like intense detail throughout a comic book. I'm fine with art that just tells the story. Having said that, this is even for my wide variety of acceptable art, what I would consider enjoyable art, this is really, really on the bare bones side. So there's that. Also, this would be fine if it was written for kids. And you could argue that this is actually written for kids, but I would say it's not really written for kids. It's written for adults that were into Beast Wars and they're looking for, to reminisce and to look back and enjoy some nostalgia. So that's already a difficult task to take on. So I get that. So their point here is the way that they try to tackle this is we're going to retell Beast Wars. Nothing in the TV series exists. We're basically retelling it. The beginning in this first issue is essentially follows the plot of the first episode, except that this issue has a few minor changes. And apparently, as the series goes on, it's supposed to further deviate from the original series, which is good. You don't just want to read the same. You could just watch the series. Why would you make a comic book that's doing the same thing? So I like that concept. The biggest change, perhaps, are just new characters. So they have two new characters, Nyx, and the second one is Scold, and they're both women because we can't be bigots. No, I'm not sure if that's actually the reason or not, and that's why this has me so suspicious. The whole time I'm wondering, is this because they're trying to make a political statement? And these old TV shows from the 90s were just toxic masculinity. Is that the component of it? Or is it a matter of, hey, here's an opportunity to create new characters? If I was writing this, would I create a new character? Heck yes, I would. And that's because that's part of the thing with Beast Wars is they constantly were changing. There are all these pods circling outer space, which still exists here. And, they've been thrown out into the atmosphere. And throughout the series, you're going to get these little drop pods. Here they are right here. This array of drop pods, they're going to crash to the surface of the earth and you get new characters constantly. That's what made it exciting. That and they actually would change too. But anyway, beyond that. So it still has me wondering. So they actually answer this question here. IDW, here's a Q&A in the back. for the writer, which is Eric Burnham. And the question is, there are two new characters, Nyx and Scold. Can you tell us a bit about where they came? The answer is, this is going to be a longer answer, so buckle in. Anyway, there were two big reasons to add these two to the roster. First off, in the short term for Nyx and the long term for Scold, just having them there changes the dynamics. I'm going to pause right there. This is a story reason to add characters. So that's important. Intent matters. I don't care what anybody else says. Intent matters. It always matters. So the intent, one of the intents of adding these characters is a story reason. That's good. I mean, you want to add new characters. It was inevitable. They were going to make new characters, of course, for the comic book series. So for story reasons, short term and long term, there's a reason there. Let's continue on. No fan can predict where things are going to go with them based on the past material because that past material doesn't exist. Yeah, so it's making this entirely different from the series. Second, we didn't want to wait until whenever Black Arachnia shows up to have female characters in the book. And that reason is a strange reason to me, because is it okay to have a book that has all female characters? I don't think that's a good enough reason in and of itself. Now, if you're female and you're a Beast Wars fan, that's fantastic. I'd love to meet you. I didn't know many. I don't think I've ever met a single female Beast Wars fan. But I'll tell you, I got my kids into watching it because that's what fathers do. And my girls were interested because there were some female characters that already existed in the series. Air Razor, Black Arachnia. So they were interested in those characters. So I get that girls are going to relate to it. Having said that, I don't think this is not made for kids. This is made for adults. And if you're selling it to an adult that was into the series, I'm sure that's not really a good enough reason to add characters. So I'm glad they put the story reason first. As far as what I can tell here, I have nothing to make a judgment on what really they're putting first. Because there's not much here. And so we're talking about 30 pages or something. So we'll read through it. I'm going to continue the series and find out. So you talked about the fan art and stuff. People were interested in it. Yeah. I know this is putting a hard sell on it, but starting off shy and almost in the background, and that's one of the characters. There's a growth moment. They've put into thought character development. I'm knocking wood to get to the payoff. It's just one of my favorite arcs from the pitch. So one of my favorite arcs is a new character's story arc. Knocking on wood because this book could be canceled. Every time I'm buying a book that is smallish, this is something that was absolutely not on the shelves. I had to put this on a pull list and make sure it got ordered for me. And I didn't see a single other copy there in the store. Even though I put it there. So it's not like they bought an extra copy to put on the shelves unless somebody snagged it before I got there. I kind of doubt it though. So anyway, we'll see where this series goes. I feel like part of my experience with mainstream comics has been ruined so much because I'm constantly looking for the sucker punch. It's like I hate when people use PTSD. That's not a good example. I'm just suspicious always that there's some political, ideological reason behind everything that happens in comics and not from a story, entertainment, exciting concept. So that makes me nervous. We'll see where the series goes, and I'll let you know, I guess. I'll let you know what happens. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Real quick, I commented man, I have such a narrow audience of people that watch my videos. They're all everybody that wants to make comics. And people were saying my last video, that's because you make content that's so insider baseball. And that's true. I guess because I like to talk about that stuff, but I can see how it really alienates most comic readers. And so I understand why people are going to mainstream comics to talk about comics, because that's what normal people are out there searching for. That's how they're going to find your channel. So if I'm talking a little bit more about mainstream comics, don't think I, for some reason, don't care about independent comics. I do. That's my passion. But you gotta put your net out there into the ocean in order to find more people and bring them in. And so that's sort of the goal here. Anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know your comments below. Did you read this Beast Wars? What do you think about it? And anything else? And I'll see you in the next video.